So my name is Elena Okhonko. I'm Russian citizen. I live and work in Singapore for past 10 years. Before, I was studying and working in US, South Korea, and China. So I've done a few countries in my sort of career and life journey. I also changed careers one time. I started with IT. So basically, I kind of spent about 10 years doing IT project management. I grew from like an junior PM to PMO lead, a regional head of CRM projects with Kraft Foods or Cadbury, whatever, whatever the brand you can recognize. And then at that point, when I reached sort of, I guess, the peak of my career in FMCG, in IT area, I decided to follow my passion in investments. And I completely changed both my role and obviously the industry. So now I am actually what they call external asset manager. And I work with high net worth clients and I manage portfolios. The industry trend I would describe would be probably people going passive, and I think passive investments are getting more and more prevalent all over the world, and people pulling out funds from active managers into passive strategies. Whether it's gonna perform go forward, it still remains interesting to discuss. But that's the trend, definitely. Another trend is automation. So basically, for example, I've written a white paper on robo-advisors. And basically, we are seeing those passive strategies combined with sort of like automated portfolio construction models, whereby, retail investors can join and, basically have a model to allocate them or create a portfolio for them. And this is all sort of online at low cost and so on. So basically, this kind of trends make my job even more difficult because basically, in my case, I have to compete with like automation, right? And be sort of agile and the sort of client expectations increase in terms of like being able to see their portfolios online, being able to see performance reports easily and stuff like that. I think in our sort of day and age, there's a lot of emphasis on, being sort of knowledgeable, being smart, like high IQ, being able to score very well on all those aptitude tests and stuff like that. So basically, kind of the focus is on like how intellectual and how smart you are. But in my sort of experience and in my career, if you like, I came across situations where yes, you might be very smart, very intelligent, and so on, but it doesn't get you far. And the reason is you work with people, so you have to be able to, basically relate to people in your work environment. And from that perspective, I would recommend everyone to do something about their EQ skills. And I don't believe in this kind of statement where, okay, I have this kind of set of IQ, EQ, and that's basically for life, and I cannot change that, and so on. I believe that you can actually, if you work on it, and if you, I don't know, do some kind of spiritual work, do some kind of meditation, or whichever methods you choose, I think you can deepen your sort of connection, first of all to yourself and then to others, which would help you basically to relate better to other people in your work environment and obviously your friends and so on. So it's not only for your career, it's overall for your like relationships in your life. So I would stress, instead of concentrating focusing on IQ, especially if you already have a high IQ, right? just work more on your EQ skills. So I basically started my career when I was like 22. So from 22 to 23, I was on a scholarship in US, studying and working like as an intern in various sort of nonprofit organizations in US. And my main sort of like conclusion or outcome in US, they are more focused on actual how to say, like, sales process, how you present yourself, how do you come across your colleagues, your clients, and so on. So this client sort of facing aspect was very important in US. In Korea, when I was working in Korea, I realized that this is a very sort of hard culture for a foreigner to work in. And I will be very honest, they have a very strong hierarchical culture where I was pretty much at the lowest level. So I would not recommend young women to work there at all, especially if they are in the beginning of their career and they're young, because basically in the Korean hierarchy, the top will be a senior person, right? Older person, guy, and local Korean. So, and that cascades to me being pretty much at the bottom of the hierarchical ladder. So it wasn't a very pleasant experience, to be honest, to say the least. That's why I'm happy I left the country. And if you ever consider any opportunities in South Korea, I would recommend you to first kind of work your way up on the career ladder, and come in there as a more senior person. And China, I really enjoyed working in China. They don't have the hierarchical sort of problems that I saw or experienced in South Korea, surprisingly, although they're also an Asian country. To be honest, even like women and men are treated very similar, like there is no sort of difference. I worked in IT, mostly software development, right? And I've seen as many women software engineers as guys, and to me it was like, wow, they really treat you, the same. So if you have the skills, if you have the knowledge, you can perform. And Singapore, my past 10 years were interesting. I mean, I was in a more senior role. And I would say that I guess Singapore is for more maybe like senior people, because here they have all this companies headquarters, where you normally have mostly regional staff, so they expect a certain level of seniority. And if they bring in the foreigner, it must be somebody with like some specific experience, maybe that local Singaporeans cannot provide. Because I think now Singapore is quite big on getting local Singaporeans to be employed in a mid-level management positions. So I think for Singapore, it's a place where you can come after you are kind of above mid-level management. Yeah.